What's up, YouTube? I went ahead and did a little more work on that Damascus steel sanmai billet, and I gotta tell you, you really need to buy good grinding belts. What you didn't see is I spent a bunch of time cleaning that up, and I realized that the grinding belts that I was using were just spent. And so I ordered some new ones. They finally arrived the last couple of days in crappy, cold, wet upstate New York. I've been working on the blade. I'll give you a little sneak peek here for now, and you'll see the rest of it later. At the end of the video, I'll give you a good roundabout of how this blade turned out. But in the meantime, check it out. It looks like number 2 is the winner, except without these grooves here. Gotta get rid of these. Those are not going to be part of the final product. Looks like we're going with that right there. Couple of things real quick before I start profiling this blade. Man, it just barely fits on this billet, this blade design. But I want to cry because I don't know if you can see in this light, but there's beautiful designs on this Damascus steel right here. And well, you can't see it as much on this side, but anyways, it's really nice. And I'm getting rid of about half of this steel by the time I cut out this blade. And you know, it took so much work to make all that beautiful design, it's kind of a bit of a bummer to be cutting a bunch of it off. But with that said, I think that rubber cement has set enough. I'm going to go ahead and start a cutting. This is where I'm at right now. I'm pretty happy with the progress so far, but I got quite a bit yet to do. I've got to kind of thin it out a little bit widthwise still, just a little bit, and I got to get the bevel started. I'm going to go ahead and make a quick plunge line jig this time around because I kind of want a canted slightly forward plunge line for the bevel. I just realized the first problem I'm going to have with this plunge line jig, where the little bolts hang out the sides. My crappy grinder here, I already had to trim out the edges here to be able to get a decent plunge line to begin with. So now it looks like the bolts are going to hit what I've already got out here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I've got to hold this like this to get this bevel. So I got to hold it in here, and I got to push it slightly off to the side to get to the angle that I need. And this bolt right here keeps whacking away there. So it looks like my slight modification to this 4x36 is going to have to get a further modification to accommodate for that bolt. I really don't want to rebuild this jig at this point. Well, that's a good start, but obviously I'm still catching on these edges. I gotta do more because I'm catching and I'm gonna mess this up. I mean, at this stage, there's a lot of corrections you can make, but when you get close to that when you get close to that final bevel finish, you can't have it doing what this is doing right now. It'll really mess up the bevel bad. So back to the drawing board, a little more. This just isn't cutting it. Just not enough. It's just not enough. Pretty sad with all the technology that we have now that I got more work accomplished with these two files than I could get with a Dremel style tool and an angle grinder. Well, for a preliminary bevel, I think that went pretty good. The plunge line jig, I think, worked pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how even and nice that plunge line turned out. However, because of the angle of the plunge line, it might force me to do my final bevel by hand. And I haven't done a lot of the finishing bevels by hand because I got kind of a bad back, I get a little shaky, and that grinder's not very good. But I do also see how far down, you probably can't see in this light, how far down those layers go of Damascus. I've got room to thin this out a little more. I think I'm going to give it a little more distal taper in the front, a little bit in the back to reduce some weight, and then head to heat treat. There's going to be some unique challenges with heat treating this. There's a couple little spots where I can see it delambed here and back here. So for the sake of not wanting to open those up, because you really can't see them now, but I know they're there, I'm going to try to just do the edge primarily. I'm going to try not to overheat the entire thing, just the edge. I already know I normalized this after I forged it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. Cold here in upstate New York. I gotta warm up that oil. Oh yeah, that hard. That hard up nice. Oh yeah. Yeah, buddy. Good, good, good. That's what I like to hear. Let me get this down to the temperate. All right, so a heat treat. Gonna do 450 in the toaster oven for at least an hour. Well, guys, I originally came down here off camera because it was my intention to build a bevel jig that would be able to work with this. It wasn't going to happen. There was no way I was going to build a bevel jig that was going to work with the new plunge line angle that I put on that blade. So I just went ahead and just wanted to get it done. Didn't grab the camera. I did most of it by hand. I didn't use a jig at all. It turned out okay. I did swear a little bit along the way which is one of the reasons I didn't want to bring the camera down. But now I'm done with the primary bevels. So now I'm just going to start hand sanding. The bevels turned out pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're not bad, especially considering that I hand beveled them. That's not something I've done before, not for the finished bevel. You live and you learn. Hopefully it works out. Well, after a cleanup from 220 grit to 500 to 1000, I'm hoping this thing is going to etch well, because I'm about sick of working on this tonight. Boy, that etching is very cold though. It's very cold outside today, so I don't know how that's going to affect things. Take a quick look here as it starts. Make sure I don't have any fingerprints or weird spots. Oh no, it's looking pretty good. Let's let that sit for a while and I think I'll come back. Yeah, this is my weaker solution. So hopefully it'll be a slower etch, which will define the lines a little bit better, a little less fuzzy. That's also why I went all the way up to 1000 grit. Some people have the perspective out there, and they might be right, I don't know. They think that anything over 500 or 600 grit and you don't have enough surface area for the acid to affect. They might be right, but I feel like 1000 will keep it extra smooth with hopefully no scratches showing. That will be seen in the final product. Check you when it's done. So here's a good look at the finished blade. I'm all done with it. I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome. I got my logo on there. Don't know how well you can see it. I suppose it depends on what light we get in. The WJ here. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. I think it looks great. I think my buddy will like it. He's going to do the handle. And I don't know if he's going to want to do the final sharpened edge or if I'll do that. I'll have to talk to him about it. But Josh, I am extremely happy with this blade. Well, hopefully you guys are as happy with the outcome of this blade as I am. And if you did like this blade, you like this build, at least as much of it as I could show you, go ahead and like and subscribe. I've got more projects in mind. This will probably be my last sanmai Damascus for a little while, because that is very labor intensive and complicated to get it right. I'll probably move back on to some leaf spring knives, and I think I'm even going to start selling those leaf spring knives. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, it's been great sharing this with you, and I'll check you guys later.